Hello everyone. Today I am going to discuss on important topic of physical chemistry. The topic name is activity and activity coefficient. The activity of a substance in different phase, in gas phase, in liquid phase, solid phase, in ideal and non-ideal solutions are discussed in this lecture. So in the first slide, you have to know what is the meaning of activity, why it is required, and what is its importance. So here you can see the answer. There are very limited systems that behave ideally. For example, pure ideal gases, ideal mixtures, gaseous mixture, liquid mixture or solid mixture, or ideal solutions. But there are many systems that are not ideal, that are the real systems. Now the question arises how to deal mathematically with non-ideal systems. These systems are handled conveniently using the concepts of activity, which was first introduced by G.N. Lewis. So, activity is a concept which is applied only for non-ideal systems, that means for real systems. Now, here you can see the definition. The activity of a component of the solution is defined with respect to the standard or ideal state. So always remember, activity is defined with respect to the standard or ideal state. The activity is an effective concentration. Remember, it is an effective concentration that preserves the form of the expression for chemical potential. Okay, so activity means the effective concentration. Now we are going to discuss the mathematical expression of activity of a substance for the following systems. So here you can see the systems. First system, activity for a substance in a gaseous phase, ideal and real gases. Number two, activity for a substance in solid and liquid phases. Activity for a substance in a ideal solution. Activity of a ideal solvent or ideal solute. Next, activity for a substance in non-ideal or real solutions. Activity of solvent and activity of solute. Here, these two solvent and solute are non-ideal. And finally, you can see activity for a component in electrolyte solutions. So now we are going to discuss one by one the expression of activity for the following systems. The first see number one, activity for a substance in gaseous phase, ideal gas and real gas. See my last lecture where I have discussed how to calculate the chemical potential for an ideal gas. The formula of chemical potential is given in this equation. Mu T comma P is equal to mu 0 T plus RT ln P by P0. So this is the equation of for chemical potential for an ideal gas. Now as G.N. Lewis introduced the concept of activity, so according to G.N. Lewis, this equation is written like this: mu T comma P is equal to mu 0 T plus RT ln A. So here you can see A is the activity. So how you can write A is equal to P divided by P0, and you know that P is equal to pressure of the ideal gas. Mu0 is the standard chemical potential and P0 is the standard pressure of 1 bar. So for ideal gas, you can write that activity is equal to P divided by P0. Okay. Now consider the real gas. So you can see my last lecture where I have discussed what is the chemical potential for a real gas. Mu T comma P is equal to mu 0 T plus RT ln F divided by F0. So here you know that F means the fugacity. Therefore, according to G.N. Lewis, you can write mu T comma P is equal to mu 0 T plus RT ln A. So here you can see we are using the similar equation like ideal gas. So what I can write for real gas, activity A is equal to F divided by F0, and as I told you that F is equal to fugacity. Fugacity means effective pressure of real gas. Okay, and you know that F is equal to phi into P. Phi is called fugacity coefficient. So you can write A is equal to phi into P divided by F0. F0 again, you know that standard fugacity. When the gas is very pure, then you can write F0 is equal to P0. Okay, that is equal to 1 bar. Okay, so therefore you can write for very pure gas, activity A is equal to phi into P divided by P0 for a real gas. So this is the first point, activity for a substance in gaseous phase. For ideal gas, this is for ideal gas equation, this is for real gas equation of activity. Now consider second point, activity for a substance in solid and liquid phase. So as we know that dg is equal to vdp when the temperature is constant. So you can write d mu is equal to vm dp. Vm is equal to molar volume, and mu you know that it is chemical potential. On integration between limits p and p0, we get mu is equal to mu0 t plus vm p minus p0. Okay. So according to G.N. Lewis formula of activity, you know that mu t comma p is equal to mu0 t plus RT ln A. Now, if you compare these two equations, you can write RT ln A is equal to Vm p minus p0. Therefore, A is equal to E to the power Vm p minus p0 divided by RT. So this is the expression of activity for a substance in solid and liquid phase. Now consider activity for a substance in ideal solution. And you know that solution means it composed of solvent and solute. So first we'll discuss activity of solvent. Now, if the liquid and vapor phase are in equilibrium, then chemical potential of species I, you can write mu IL is equal to mu Ig. You know that chemical potential of two phases are same. That means you can write mu I means the component I, mu I in liquid phase is equal to mu I in gaseous phase. Now you know that mu I G is equal to mu I0 plus RT ln Pi by P0. Okay, so this is the chemical potential for a gas. Mu Ig is equal to mu I0 plus RT ln Pi by P0. So Pi is equal to vapor pressure of the solvent in solution. Hence, as you can see that mu IL is equal to mu Ig, so you can write mu Ig is given here, so you can write mu IL is equal to mu Ig, that is equal to mu I0 plus RT ln Pi by P0. So this is equation number 1. Now consider a pure liquid. The pure liquid means there is no solute. So when pure liquid I is in equilibrium with vapor, the chemical potential of pure liquid is mu I star L. That is in liquid phase. It is in equilibrium with vapor. So you can write mu I star L is equal to mu I star G, and these two equal. So you can write that is equal to mu I star. So star means it is a pure form of the particular component. So how you can write mu I star L is equal to mu I star G is equal to mu I star, that is equal to mu I0 plus RT ln Pi star divided by P0. So here you can see Pi star is written instead of Pi. So here Pi star is equal to vapor pressure of pure solvent. There is no solute. So you can write this is equation number 2 and this is equation number 1. Now subtracting equation number 2 from 1 gives mu IL is equal to mu I star plus RT ln Pi by Pi star. So here mu IL is equal to chemical potential of particular component liquid phase, that is equal to mu I star chemical potential of the pure solvent plus RT ln Pi by Pi star. Pi is equal to vapor pressure of solvent in solution, and Pi star is equal to vapor pressure of pure solvent. Now consider Raoult's law. So according to Raoult's law, you know that for an ideal solution, Pi is equal to Xi into Pi star. So Pi is equal to vapor pressure of the solvent in solution, Xi is equal to mole fraction, and Pi star is equal to vapor pressure of the pure solvent. Now, if you consider the equation number 3, there, there you can put the value of Pi by Pi star is equal to Xi. Therefore, you can write mu I L is equal to mu I star plus RT ln Xi. So again, consider the Jean-Louis formula of activity. Mu I L is equal to mu I star plus RT ln AI. So compare these two equations, equation number 4 and 5. You can write AI is equal to Xi is equal to Pi by Pi star. So this is the activity for a pure solvent. Remember, the solvent is pure. Okay, ideal solvent. Now consider activity for a substance in ideal dilute solution. Now you have to consider the activity of the solute. So in the previous case, you have considered the activity of the solvent. Now you have to consider the activity of the solute. Now see here, in ideal solutions, both solute and solvent obeys Raoult's law. However, English chemist William Henry found experimentally that for real solutions at low concentrations, the vapor pressure of solute is proportional to its mole fraction. And most importantly, the proportionality constant is not vapor pressure of the pure substance. Here you can see, according to Raoult's law, here you can see the vapor pressure is proportional to mole fraction, but the proportionality constant is Pi star. But according to Henry, the proportionality constant is not the vapor pressure of the pure substance. Now, mixtures for which the solute obeys Henry's law and the solvent obeys Raoult's law are called ideal dilute solutions. Now consider a solute J that satisfies Henry's law has a vapor pressure given by Pj is equal to Kh by Xj. So here you can see the proportionality constant is Kh, it is not Pi star for the solute. So Kh is called Henry's constant. Okay, so here vapor pressure of the solute is proportional to the mole fraction of the solute. And remember, the proportionality constant is Kh. So here the solute, you can consider the solute is a gas, and you can consider the solvent is a liquid. Now consider, in this case, the chemical potential of J, of solute J is mu J is equal to mu J star. Similar equation, mu J is equal to mu J star plus RT ln Pj by Pj star. Okay, so you can write mu J star plus RT ln Pj means Kh into Xj, so Kh into Xj by Pj star. So you can write mu J star plus RT ln Kh by Pj star plus RT ln Xj. Now you can see mu J star is constant for a particular solute. This is a standard chemical potential. RT ln Kh is also a constant. Pj star is also constant. So you can write mu J has plus RT ln Xj. So that is the chemical potential for the particular solute. So you can write that is equal to mu J has plus RT ln Aj according to Jean-Louis formula of activity. Okay, so mu J has plus RT ln Aj. Now compare these two equations. You can write Aj is equal to Xj is equal to Pj divided by Kh. Okay, Xj means Pj divided by Kh. Pj means the pressure of the solute divided by Henry's constant. So from this discussion, you know the activity of the solvent is equal to Pi by Pi star, but the activity of the solute is equal to Pj by Kh. Okay, so this is for ideal solutions where the solvent obeys the Raoult's law and solute obeys the Henry's law. Now consider activity for non-ideal solution. So activity for a substance in a non-ideal solution, activity of solvent and activity of solute. First consider activity of solute. The components of a non-ideal solution exhibit deviation from Raoult's law. For a non-ideal solution, the activity and mole fraction of the solvent are related through the activity coefficient. So in the last slide, you know what is the activity for a solvent in an ideal solution. In that case, activity of the solvent is equal to X of solvent. Now for a non-ideal solution, you have to write activity of solvent is equal to gamma solvent into X solvent. Okay, that's why you can see here the activity and mole fraction of the solvent are related through the activity coefficient. So here gamma solvent is called the activity coefficient. Therefore, you can write activity of solvent is equal to gamma solvent into P solvent divided by P star of the solvent. P solvent means the pressure of the solvent in solution and P star solvent means the pressure of the solvent in pure solvent. Therefore, you can write gamma solvent is equal to activity of the solvent divided by X of the solvent. X is equal to the mole fraction. Now, if gamma solvent tends to 1 as X solvent tends to 1 or X solute tends to 0, and X solute tends to 0 means the solution is very dilute, and in that case activity of the solvent tends to X of the solvent. Okay, therefore you can conclude that Raoult's law is obeyed for solvent in dilute solution when the X solute tends to 0 or X solvent tends to 1. If gamma solvent greater than 1, the components exhibit positive division from Raoult's law, and if gamma solvent less than 1, the components exhibit negative division from Raoult's law. Now if you plot gamma versus mole fraction, you can get a curve like this. The middle one where you can see the gamma value is equal to 1. That means here the gamma is equal to 1 means activity of the solvent is equal to X solvent. So this line represents an ideal solution. Okay, gamma is equal to 1 means ideal solution. Now above 1, you can see the gamma value greater than 1, and in this region gamma value less than 1. So when the gamma value greater than 1, in this case the positive division occurs, and here you can see gamma value less than 1, that means negative division from Raoult's law. Now consider activity of a solute in ideal solution. So for ideal dilute solution, you know that activity of the solute is equal to X of solute, that is equal to P of solute divided by Kh. For non-ideal solution, activity of the solute is equal to gamma of solute into X of solute. So again gamma is the activity coefficient for the solute, that is equal to gamma solute into P solute divided by Kh. Therefore, you can write gamma solute is equal to A activity of the solute divided by X of the solute. Now see the following points. Number 1, gamma solute tends to 1 as X solute tends to 0. X solute tends to 0 means the solution is very dilute. So solute obeys Henry's law as its concentration goes to 0. If gamma solute greater than 1, then positive division from Henry's law. If gamma solute less than 1, then negative division from the Henry's law. Okay, so this is the activity for non-ideal solution, for activity of the solvent and activity of the solute. In the next lecture, you can know what is the activity for a substance in a electrolyte solution. Thank you.